3AW Footy Highlights.
Blues over to win at ground level. Shot out by Kemp to Evans. Great kick. And the returning Hayward has outrun Maynard back to goal. All about making the most of your opportunities early. Hayward has done just that. Use the left goal post as a reference. And you can see and hopefully you can hear the excitement from the Carlton fans. Kick up into the 50. It's pretty deep. Steen is down there. He came back. He's ripped it out of the sky. Kick to goal on debut. And a bit leaner since then, but he executed that perfectly. Frankie Evans might have to fly here, and he holds onto the mark. Goggleless now, runs around, kicks again into the pocket, and Kemp takes a one-hander. Well, I wasn't expecting that. He runs around from the boundary and snaps this. It'll be even bigger, pleasant surprise from Brody Kemp, and he's done it. Fist came from Howe, up and down on the spot, 20 metres out from Carlton's goal. Cribb's got a good handball to McGovern to Ainsworth. The dangerous ex-Suns snapping away and giving Carlton another goal.
They're living dangerously here, the Blues. Mark taken by Cowan, lowers the eyes, skids the kick there to Carroll. Did him no favours at all. Oh, dangerous tackle against Howe. And there's going to be a 50. There's been some verbal dissent here. Matt Carroll is going to be taken. I don't think any Collingwood players are going to stand the mark. He's just going to roll in. He could have dribbled it past the goal umpire instead. He banked it up into the second level.
Paddled out to Allen. He got through with a handball to Membry. He knew where McCreary was. Can he hit it from long range? Can he strike the target? That's the way you do it. Underneath at Evans, and then a fumble from Kemp. He got a handball away to Mackay. Back to McGovern, who's been their primary source of goals this year. And it continues with a nice left foot snap. Crisp on the bounce to Membry at centre half forward. Just jutted it forward. On the bounce, it's Jamie Elliott. He's got Schultz on his own in the goal square. Not required. I wonder if that signals his return, and Collingwood's as well.
Very short pass to Ned Long. High ball to the top of the... Cameron does the crumbing. Over the back, Membry goal. I don't think that was a set play. Jagger Smith kicks it out wide. Mackay on the bounce. Handball to Frankie Evans. There's someone on in the square. Open goal. McGovern, he'll stroll in. Listen to this. Nick Dacos with the look away. Handball to Darcy Cameron. The high snap at goal and land in the goal square. Haynes, was he being held? Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos. Did you say off air during the break, Richo, surely the Blues couldn't blow this one?
I did say that, but it was before Nick Dacos kicked that goal.
Beautifully sharked by Crisp. Out to Josh Dacos. Fully wound. Steen again. Great bodywork from young Steen. For his second goal, he's just been able to get it inside the goalpost. And now could be panic time for Carlton.
Steele kicks it back to the hot spot. Carlton players spoil each other. At the full, Hayes scores our level. Collingwood have gone bang, bang, bang.
Pitnet's tap almost thrown by Hollands. Here's Dacos again. He ducked into the tackle. But the umpire is going to pay it. Plays on. Got the handball off to Elliott. Long range shot from Lipinski. The avalanche continues and there is nothing Michael Voss can do about it now. Carlton fans are shaking their head around the MCG. They have seen it all before. High kick back to the wing. McStay waited the ball, found him. McCreary. He's going to take another 50 metres. One-on-one, the little chance forward. It's a hold against Hollis. He handballs instinctively to Elliott, who kicks a sliding goal. That is 5 on end for Collingwood. They are an unstoppable, irresistible force.
Lewis Young soccers it out of the centre square. Grabbed there by Hayward, spun in the tackle to Ainsworth. Flying shot at goal, one against the run of play.
Smith's handball low is poor. Great spin from Anderson for Collingwood. He kicks in the direction of Dacos. He's going to beat two. He took them out of the picture. And Dacos, we bow down to you. He's kicked into Elliott in the forward pocket. It was like he had them on remote control. He's playing PlayStation football, Richo.
He's on.
And he's the hero.
He is.
Collingwood lead by 7 points. They were 23 points down at one stage. And then Nick Dacos entered the picture. And he has set Jamie Elliott up twice in his final term. That was a superb kick. Good pressure from the outside by McGovern. They're just keeping them at bay. Fierce tackle, McGovern on Howe. Holding the ball. Wow, big call. They've got to make every post a winner now, Mitch McGovern. Does the job. They're not out of it yet.
Lipinski goes again. Elliott, another goal here. Hayes gets to Anderson, to Membry for what might be the sealer.
Rampton, it got through the cracks to Hayward. He's chipped it up for Ainsworth to run on, and umpire says he's played on. He adapted, he handballed to Carroll, who kicks a goal. And Carlton is still in this. Well and truly now, 40 metres around from Carlton's goal. The best they can hope for, the very best for Michael Voss, would be a goal and a draw. Collingwood defending with their lives. Big off ball, free kick
Against Josh Dacos.
Taylor Byrne.
Did he take a dive?
He's going to have a shot to draw the game. To draw the game, the clock is stopped with 15 seconds remaining. Taylor Byrne, the young Carlton player, he is just 18 years of age. He is playing his fourth game of AFL football. It is a long way from Koroit to the MCG. But that's the journey this young man is on. The clock counts down. The siren sounds around the MCG. 40 metres out from goal. He's missed. Collingwood win. Carlton lose. In the most cruelest fashion. How much can one team take?
.3AW is football.
It's hard to concentrate when you're worried about your health. It can feel like there's a wall between you and the rest of the world. Like you can't be fully present.
Hello, AXA Health. How can I help?
At AXA Health Insurance, we build our teams with people who care. So when you need us, we're here to support you. For cover that cares, search AXA Health Insurance. Pre-existing conditions are not covered. It's hard to concentrate when you're worried about your health. It can feel like there's a wall between you and the rest of the world. Like you can't be fully present.
Hello, AXA Health. How can I help?
At AXA Health Insurance, we build our teams with people who care. So when you need us, we're here to support you. For cover that cares, search AXA Health Insurance. Pre-existing conditions are not covered.
Through 6PR in Perth, 5AA in Adelaide, and nationwide
via the 3AW app.
Welcome to 14 The McLean.
For Tobin Brothers, celebrating lives.
Here's your host, Bruce Eva.
Thank you, Craig Willis. Good evening, everyone. 7 minutes after 11 here on the Eastern Seaboard, to be more specific, here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground after another dramatic night with edition number 269 of, some would say, still the greatest rivalry in football. Carlton and Collingwood have put on another barn burner. The skills weren't the best right throughout the evening, but what a grandstand finish. Collingwood storming back in the last quarter and then hanging on to win by 5 points, 13-10, 88 to Carlton, 12-11. 83. Plenty of callers already lined up on the Nick Theodosi open line. 133 693. Troy Zantuck and myself taking calls right through until midnight. 133 693. Plenty of emotion surrounding tonight's storming Collingwood comeback. They improved to 3-3. Carlton slipped to 1-5. And we've also got a topic, as we do every Thursday night, which Xanas is going to share with us in just a tick. Troy Zantuck, welcome back to Footy Nightline.
Thanks, Beaver. Great to be here. Another cracking crowd, 78,000 at the G. Another nail-biter, as you said, Bruce, but the virtuoso performance of Nick Dacos. I think he's just banked another 3 Brownlow votes.
He was sensational. His first 10 minutes of the last quarter had to be seen to be believed, and unfortunately for Carlton fans, Xanas, what's that, the third time in 4 weeks that they've coughed up a significant lead, run down by the Demons, run down by the Kangaroos, now run down by Collingwood tonight. And last week in Gather Round, they were brave for about 95% of the game early in the second quarter. The Crows blew them away, so they slipped to 1-5. And, what does Crackers Keenan always say? When things are glum, there's worse to come.
Yeah, and Crackers, he coined it perfectly. But, you've just got to ask the question, even when they're in deficit, an opposing team with Carlton, they're always a chance. And it's a great confidence booster to have that, to know that, if the Blues can get 3 or 4 on you, you're a chance to come back at them.
Yep, always a live chance. Collingwood kicked 7-1 to 3-2 in the final quarter after trailing by 18 points at the final change. We're about to get to our callers, but before we do, the first batch of callers want to talk about tonight's game, tonight's drama here at the cricket ground. But throw it out there for the listeners that they can ring in between now and midnight. What is our theme tonight?
Yeah, so we're looking for some great input from the listeners tonight, Bruce. We're looking at dual sports stars, and another great call by the team. And you brought it up with Hutto, one of the dual sports stars celebrating his 300th game this weekend. Mark Blixarves, what an absolute superstar he's been for the Cats, and being a superstar in another sport is a steeplechaser, Bruce.
Do you know, I actually looked up his record today. His profile still appears on worldathletics.org. And the fact that in 2012, the year before, as a 20-year-old, the year before he made his debut for the Cats, he ran 3:43.81 for the 1,500 metres. And, of course, he was trying to, his better distance was the 3,000-metre steeplechase. So a brilliant middle distance runner, but he did choose football. And we've got two uses of the word dual because, of course, he plays his 300th game tomorrow night, and then on Sunday here at the MCG, dual Brownlow medalist Lachie Neale plays his 300th game as well.
Yeah, it's a sensational player after coming over from Fremantle, hasn't he been? Well, he's been an ornament to the game, Lachie Neale, no doubt about it, and a big part of I think last year's premiership winning, coming on and kicking that goal, and he just the confidence boost the Lions got out of that. He's a real trailblazer, Lachie Neale.
Yeah, he was the super sub in the grand final. So your nominations throughout the night for dual sporting stars. One of the sports does have to be Australian football. Our dual sporting stars over the years that have played at the highest level. But first, let's focus on tonight's game. 133-693. That is the Nick Theodosi Prestige Car open line. Len, good evening to you. Or has Len just dropped out then? I think Len might have just dropped out. Give us a call back, Len. Paul. That means you've got the new ball.
Yes, good evening, chaps, and I'll say it, go Pies. Look, what I'm ringing about is two things. One, does anyone know when Peter Moore is Darcy Moore's coming back from injury? And the other one is, I noticed that the home and away fixture seems to have like 2 away games for round 6 against Carlton and round 7 against Essendon. To me, that seems like a nice coffers building for the club of Carlton, the way I look at it, because from the open round from the first one, it was away, and then it was home, away, and all that, even when we had that break. Why is it two away games? Can anyone answer that? Seems like it's building up the coffers for Carlton. How do you guys see it?
Are you saying in the return game later in the year when Collingwood play Carlton?
No, I'm talking about now in round. This is round 6, right? Sorry, yeah, round 6. It's a Carlton away game. Next week it's an Essendon away game. We don't get a home game out of these next 2 rounds, which I found rather odd.
Well,
Not the normal process.
Paul, it's easy to explain. So year in, year out, Essendon and Collingwood take it in turns as to who is the designated home team for Anzac Day. That will mean that last year Collingwood will have been the designated home side on Anzac Day. This year it is the Bombers. Next year it'll revert back to Collingwood. Collingwood and Carlton meet twice this year, as they do most years. Round 19, the Collingwood-Carlton game at the MCG is a Collingwood home game. So, as we know, there are lots of vagaries in the draw, but that's the simple explanation. Good on you, Paul. Thanks for your. I don't think I could have explained it any better than that, Sanners.
I don't think he could have, Bruce. No, it's as you said. It's what comes around goes around, and each get a home and away game during the year. Obviously, they draw the big crowds, and that's why the people flock to the games. Like, as I said, 78,000. What a terrific home and away crowd that was tonight.
Yeah, 78,000 and 58. I think the other games, Paul, as well. Just before we leave that subject. The locked-in fixtures, Richmond and Carlton take it in turns for the first Thursday night in Melbourne for the year as to who is the home team year in, year out. Geelong and Hawthorn on Easter Monday. It swaps each year, I believe, as to who is the designated home side. And the same with the King's Birthday Monday clash, Collingwood this year, the designated home side against the Demons. Josh, good evening to you at 14 minutes after 11.
Hi, Bruce. How are you guys? I wish I was
going well.
speaking to. I was going to hopefully speak to Matthew Richardson about thank you for coming to the telephone, but that got out the window. Couple of things. First of all, I think the wildcard round has to go. I don't like this idea of wildcard round. It's basically beginning sort of cheating. Second of all, I think it was one of the best Carlton. I'm a Docker supporter, but I think Carlton needs to get rid of Michael Voss. I just can't see what they're doing. I just can't see a plan. I don't know what they're doing. And thirdly, what they need to do. Thirdly, I think, yeah. And thirdly, I think it's going to be important to see they just need some new blood, Carlton, or they just need to, bleed new players, because I think they're struggling.
Okay, Josh, thanks for your call. Your Dockers have got the chance to pile more pain on the Blues next Saturday night. They host Carlton in Perth, and Carlton already 1-5. That is a tall order. Xana's and to Josh, to my mind, they're not going to move on Michael Voss this early in the season. You look at their draw; they've got some really tough games still to come. And I mean, it's not the old days where you could go out and 6 or 7 rounds in, buy a couple of players from South Australia or Western Australia. Once your list is fixed, which is later than ever now with the opportunities for supplementary selections, close to the start of the season. But they're stuck with what they've got.
Yeah, it's pretty much set in stone, Bruce. And you bring Fremantle up, and aren't they going beautifully? That three-pronged attack of Voss, Tracy and Amos. I tell you what, they're looking top form material.
No doubt about that. And I don't know, I'd need to one of the production team to check whether Carlton has got a list spot available for a mid-season rookie pick, but that's hardly going to move the needle. Josh, thanks for your call. Len, good evening to you.
Good evening, guys. Xanis.
Hey, Len.
Xanis, we've spoken before.
We have.
And I'll tell you what, mate, you've played the game at the highest level. Now, when you've got a side by the throat, what do? You just put your foot on the throat. And why can't Carlton do this? I'm a Collingwood supporter, and they had Collingwood, and I mean, and other side right through from the beginning of this season, and they just cannot put the foot on the throat.
Bruce, they've had their chances, haven't they, to really put teams away, and I think it just gets down to the mentality in the end, because they've definitely got the ability. It's just that they just can't put the foot on the accelerator and just really put a team away.
And it becomes a snowball effect, as Paul alluded to as we spoke before 11 o'clock. It's as much now with the mental boost it gives opposition sides. If they're still within 3 or 4 goals of Carlton in the second half, the game's still alive because they've seen it happen time and time again. And this isn't a new phenomenon. We spoke, Xanas and I, a few weeks ago when we were talking about Richmond's infamous start to the 1987 season.
Yeah.
When they had 3 or 4 monster leads, that famous footage of Tony Jewell ripping or trying to rip whatever hair he had left off his head as they coughed up big lead after big lead.
Yeah, no, look, obviously all the teams these days, they have a sports psychologist, but really I think it all comes down to the individual player. And I think the leadership group too I think that's a huge part. Getting around and just saying, look, we're 18 points up, we're 24 points up. We are going to, we're going to the wire and we're going to crush Collingwood. Instead of trying to protect a lead, I just don't get that.
But they had a lot of chances early in the third quarter. They led by 14 points at half-time and kicked 1-3 in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the third term. And Richo and Campo highlighted it right there and then, that they were frittering away. They got out to a 23-point lead. Richo said, we spoke about it again post-game. If they kicked the next goal after that, it looked like a bridge too far for the Magpies. And they had more than enough chances to put enough distance between themselves and Collingwood throughout the night. They left the door open, and the Magpies have been the masters of the comebacks in recent years.
Leaving the door open, Bruce, I think you've summed it up beautifully, mate. And in AFL football these days, it's just so easy to put on 5 or 6 goals in a very short space of time.
Particularly with the 666.
Yes.
And Collingwood's surge at the start of the last quarter was breathtaking, no doubt about that. Len, thanks for your call. Colin, thanks for giving us a buzz. Good evening.
Good evening. It's disappointing to hear you talk up Fremantle, but we'll move on from that. Your dual sports. Anthony Mundine plays top-level rugby. I don't know much about rugby, but I know he was a world champion boxer a couple of times over as well, so that's a pretty decent resume in my book.
I love that call, Bruce, from Colin.
Yes, I called the boxing in Sydney last Wednesday night. Chock Mundine was there. He's not far away from going into the Australian Boxing Hall of Fame. In fact, Colin and Zanners, because he's now been out of the ring for 2 or 3 years. And he was a premiership. Was he a premiership player for the
St George Illawarra?
Yeah, and then he played for the Broncos, didn't he? He didn't just play for the Dragons. Did he play for the Broncos as well?
Well, I can't remember him playing for the Broncos, Bruce, but definitely St George, because he played in that grand final against the Storm when the Storm, I think in 1999.
Yeah, when the Storm won, there was the penalty try, wasn't there? With and that was at the Olympic Stadium before it had staged the Olympic Games. I think a crowd of over 100,000 at that one. But a great nomination, Colin, to kick us off for our dual sporting stars. Let's take a break, Zanners. More calls on the other side of this. 133 693 if you want to have a chat about Carlton, Collingwood, if you want to have a chat about any other games coming up in round 6 or our dual sporting stars. We're less than 24 hours away from a dual sporting star in Mark Blitzarves, playing his 300th game. I think he's just going to be the 8th cat to reach that magical mark. Yep. And, of course, on Sunday, Zanners, we've got Lachie Neale, the dual Brownlow medalist.
Yeah, and there's a few dual Brownlow medalists out there, so the listeners get the thinking caps on. And there may have been one whose son is the current captain in the AFL, and this bloke won his Brownlow medals at 2 different clubs.
133 693. Keep the calls coming. Thanks to the Nick Theodosi Prestige Car Open Line. For Tobin Brothers Funerals, this is Footy Nightline on 3AW.
Changes in sexual performance are more common than most people realise, and support doesn't need to feel awkward. With MedExpress, everything happens privately online. Start by completing a short consultation reviewed by UK-registered clinicians. If eligible, treatment is delivered discreetly to your home, with ongoing support whenever you need it. You're not alone in this. Visit medexpress.co.uk/podcast to learn more.
Across Australia, you're listening to Footy Nightline. Dial 133 693 to take part in the conversation.
25 minutes after 11 in Melbourne, 25 minutes after 8 in Perth. Thanks for your company on Footy Nightline, proudly brought to you by Tobin Brothers Funerals. Celebrating lives, Troy Zantuck and Bruce Eva with you through until midnight, taking your calls on a variety of issues. Collingwood by 5 points tonight, 13-10 to 12-11. We're also talking dual sports stars with Mark Blitzarves to play his 300th game tomorrow night for the Cats, and the dual Brownlow medalist Lachie Neale to play his 300th game on Sunday against the Demons. 133 693. Zanners, let's go straight back to the callers. Good evening, Peter.
Beaver, how you going?
We're going well.
There's just one thing. I've got a couple of things to talk about. First thing I'll say, did you get a glimpse of that young 15-year-old Indian gun batsman that smashed around our top test bowler for, I think it was 2 sixes and 3 fours in 1 over? Did you see it?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen the vision, Peter. I actually watched a little bit of IPL last night. The thing that took me most by surprise last night was the pace that Josh Hazlewood was bowling at was absolutely unbelievable. Talk about winding back the clock. He was bowling in the mid-140s.
He can bowl up to 160. You watch that 1 over, that 15-year-old that carted him all over the field. You'll be happy once India comes back with that guy coming to Australia. It was one of the best overs you ever seen from a 15-year-old. Peter,
I've made a note of it. I know I need to watch it when I get a spare moment across the weekend. What else you got for us, mate?
I always ring up regarding the Pies and their forward line. I think they're very lucky for tonight. If they got done, or if it was a draw, I think the Pies would have copped a big shellacking from the media. The fact that they are still not be able to convert their goals. I think tonight was a bit of a scratchy match with the defending and with the opposition they played to be able to get those goals in the second quarter. No team will give up 3 goals in 3 minutes if they're a top 4 team. Because I think the Pies are a long, long way away from anything regarding their premiership side. I think it was 23 when they won it. And I think this year... Yeah, okay, 23. I think they're a long way away. I think they're very lucky. I think they're very lucky tonight. I think the Blues, I'm very surprised a lot of their supporters still think they're still a top 4 team or top 6. They've lost a backman. They lost the Common medalist. And they lost another player. I can't remember who it was. And they still think they're going to be at the top end of the ladder.
Yeah, well, Peter, look... good points to you and to Xanas. We've got a board full of calls. I made the note at 3/4 time, and Collingwood's scoring issues this year have been there for all to see. Now, bearing in mind, Xanas and Peter, last week predominantly was played in the wet against Fremantle at the Adelaide Oval. Collingwood still did only manage 5 goals 9, mind you. Fremantle kicked 7 goals 3, but you took last week's game and tonight. At 3/4 time, Collingwood had therefore kicked 11 goals 18 in their previous 7 quarters. But when the floodgates opened, they were simply irresistible in the last term. Now, is that going to solve their scoring problems right throughout the year? Obviously not. But the fact is they've squared the ledger at 3-3, Xanas.
Yeah, there is. You're absolutely spot on, Beaver. But I will say, mate, there is a huge dependency on Nick Dacos.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it's the bleeding obvious. But when he didn't play, you just saw the midfield carved up. And the beauty of Nick Dacos, you can throw him down to the forward line and he creates havoc. If he's coming out of the back line, he sets the play up. And out of the middle, well, he's just incredibly destructive. So there's no doubt about it in mind that clearly, I think, the best player going around at the moment with his bag of tricks.
Well, after it's now a quarter of the season, 23 games we played, Collingwood has now played 6. Their top 3 goal scorers, Dan McStay's kicked 10 goals 2. Tim Membry now has 9 goals 6. And Jamie Elliott now has 8 goals 2. They're their 3 leading goal kickers, 10, 9 and 8 after 6 games. So if they can get Jordan De Goey back, and he can do some damage up forward, and if they can get Bobby Hill back, and he can do some damage up forward, but it is going to be a patchwork forward setup.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Thank you for your call, Peter. Let's go to Cameron. Good evening, Cameron.
Hello, Troy. Hello, Brett. Good call tonight by the 3AW team, by the way.
Hey, Cam.
Thank you.
Just 2 quick points. First of all, dual in sports. What comes to mind for me is Luke Hodge, dual Norm Smith medalist in the 2014-2015 grand finals, respectively, for Hawthorn.
Terrific nomination.
Thank you very much. Second point, now the NRL released their fixture for the entire NRL season. AFL stop about round 15 and the rest are floating. Is that something AFL could address next year? Like, I know they're going to scrap open round maybe keep wild card to get a bit of cash for the AFL as a business, but can they just release the whole fixture? Because we've got functions in July and August. Like we've got to drag Vigo function in August. We don't know where Collingwood are playing a Thursday and Friday night, so we decided to lock this function in first. What do you reckon?
Zanners, do you want to go first?
No, look, I don't like floating fixtures. I've got a real set against them, and I've got to hand it to Volandis. With the NRL, I like it structured, and I've got to agree with Cameron. Yeah, they throw people's plans out, but I just don't like them I just don't think they're fair.
Well, look, the only thing I'll say, I will defend the AFL. You can see what they've tried to do. And what they've tried to do, because there was criticism a few years ago with the fixture locked in all year and sides that then didn't perform. And predominantly we're talking about sort of Carlton and Essendon. And then in the last 7 or 8 weeks of the season, they're playing in primetime spots in games that didn't really matter. So what they've done now is we've got the fixture up until round 15, up until the middle of June, Thursday, June 18, through until Sunday, June 21. And after that, we'll get the final 8 rounds or 9 rounds in a few weeks' time, and they'll just put in the best time slots, the fixtures that best match up to be played on the Thursday night, the Friday night, and the Saturday night.
Yeah, I hear your argument, Bruce, but is it about corporatisation or is it about an equitable fixture?
Yeah, and well, look, the clubs, not just the fans, the clubs want certainty as well because with their corporates and that, they want to know, like a Friday night game is going to be better than a Sunday afternoon game in terms of corporately and the like. But I can see what the AFL's trying to do. I don't think we know the fixture next year is going to change in the first part of the season after the somewhat dog's breakfast we had in the first 6 weeks this year. But, whether they're going to stick with the floating fixture, I think they probably will. We need to take a break. 26 minutes to midnight. Plenty more calls to come on the other side of this on Footy Nightline. Proudly brought to you by Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Across Australia, you're listening to Footy Nightline. Dial 133 693 to take part in the conversation.
23 minutes to midnight in Melbourne, 23 minutes to 9 in Perth. Thanks for your company. Xanners, we've got a stack of callers to get through, so let's not muck around. 133 693. The topics if you've been listening throughout the night. Ed, good evening to you.
G'day, guys. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Simon O'Donnell, what a legend he was. Back in the VFL days, to let alone play one VFL game. I think he played just over 20, 25 or 6 maybe. And then to go on and play cricket for Australia in a World Cup, 87, and not sure how many tests and one days he ended up playing, but that's an unbelievable sports effort. Back in the day when there was no sports scientists, things like that, he was a freak.
Yeah, wonderful call there from Ed, Bruce, and sod 24 games for the Saints. As you know, mate, he was recruited from Assumption after kicking 100 goals in his senior year.
Didn't he kick closer to 200? Something ridiculous.
He did, and I used to watch him on the Herald, the Sun Cup. That was the game before.
The Herald Shield?
The Herald Shield, yeah. He played 6 tests for Australia, 87 one-day internationals. His father, Kevin, actually played for the Saints, and obviously son James at the Bulldogs doing some good work in the back line there.
Yep, a great nomination, Ed. I reckon, did he hit a 6, the winning runs in a Lord's Test match in 85?
He did, he could wield the willow sod, couldn't he?
Oh, enormous. Well, I'm looking across now to the red seat in in the Shane Warne stand, which he belted a 6 off our great friend Greg Mo Matthews in a Shield game here, and it's up on the third level. I'm looking at it in the gloom across on the other side of this most famous of venues.
And it was off for Mo Matthews. Well, all you could say there, Bruce, is yeah.
Yeah. He'll be down. He'll be joining me, Mo, for our annual Warrnambool sojourn in a few weeks' time. The great Mo Matthews. Ed, thanks for your call. Paul, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Bruce and Troy. Great show, by the way.
Good on you, Paul.
Dual sport star, I think you'd be hard pushed to go past Elise Perry.
Yes.
She basically was an international cricketer and soccer player, and she debuted basically, I think, at the age of 16 from memory. And, I think she still even holds the record for the most runs not out. I think 200 and something. I don't know. It was a long time ago. As far as test matches are concerned, she produced something like 213 not out, and that was amazing. I mean, she'd be hard to go by, I think, because she's an all-rounder, and she basically went into sport after that as well. So, yeah, what do you think?
Oh, Paul, what a wonderful call that is from Paul, Bruce.
Well, as he said, I mean, in both disciplines in cricket, I remember when we were doing the cricket on this network and we did a number of the women's matches, and I was having a beer post-game with a few of our co-commentators one night, and we're arguing about who would you prefer to sit there and watch bat all afternoon, Elise Perry or Meg Lanning, and we thought, well, it's about a dead heat, developed print, can't split them. And she was a spectacular fast bowler. And on top of that, as Paul said, a superstar player of the world game. I mean, she goes to the top of the list.
Yeah, I think that's the nomination of the night, and debuted at such an early age in both sports. So, yeah, great nomination. Elise Perry.
Yep, true Australian multi-sport star. Good on you, Paul. Thanks for that call. Sticks.
Stand by your man.
I was going to say, Sticks.
And tell the world you love him.
Antonio. Thank you. Very well done.
Thank you.
I wonder if Sticks is a Carlton supporter. Good evening, Sticks.
That's fantastic, boys. Never had that type of intro before. But no, I'm not. I'm actually a relatively happy Collingwood supporter. But just a couple of points. I think I might have spoken to you guys a few weeks ago, maybe after the Giants game. But I just felt for 3 quarters we just played the boundary and a little bit boring footy again. And then I don't know why we didn't sort of play how we did in that last quarter for the first 3 quarters to start off with. So that's the first point. And then the second point, just some outstanding, apart from the obvious with Nick Dacos, I just felt some outstanding performances from a couple of our younger guys. So Angry Anderson, felt that he had an enormous game again. The big O, Oscar Steen, thought he was sensational as well. And then guys that have sort of been around the club for a fair while now, but I thought Quaynor was unbelievable down back all night as well. So just a couple of standouts there. Just thought I'd ask for your thoughts.
Yeah, Sticks, great call.
Yeah.
And Xana's to use. It was outside of Nick Dacos, it was a really, really even performance.
Yeah, well, it was, Bruce, and Sticks brings up a great point. Circumnavigating the boundary line for pretty much 3 quarters of the game. Suddenly the game's on the line, they straighten up, and, 7 goals in that last quarter. Why don't teams attack from the get-go? It fascinates me.
Well, the benefit, we saw front and centre, the benefit of the 6-6-6 rule in that first 6 or 7 minutes of the final term, because Carlton couldn't put, in the old days, well, it's only a couple of years ago, Carlton would have put an extra behind the ball after the first 2 goals, let alone the surge that yielded, about 5 goals, and Nick Dacos had a hand in all of them. But to Stix's point, I thought Patrick Lipinski was sensational as well.
Yeah.
And you look at the votes, which he was in the votes from Richo, Perryman in the votes as well, Darcy Cameron, it was just a really even performance, and once they got it on their terms in the last quarter, the Magpies, well, it was a story that we've already seen a number of times this year, unfortunately, for the Blues.
Yep, spot on, Bruce.
Good on you, Sticks. Thanks for your call. Happy Magpie fan. Nothing like having a win on a Thursday night. Craig, good evening to you.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Craig.
G'day, Xanas. You should have put some initials with this.
Well, who have you got, mate, as far as a dual sports star?
Well, if we talk about dual sports and champions in the two sports, and if one of them's Aussie rules, Erin Phillips is pretty hard to go past.
Oh, Bruce, Erin Phillips.
Well, do you know, I think she's still here. Our head of football, Meg McDonald, in the last ad break was, we said she couldn't come on the air, like she could have rung through, of course, as Meg from Jollymont. But she said someone surely is going to ring in and say Erin Phillips.
And
finally someone has, in Craig.
Yeah, a star in the WNBA. And, didn't she trip the light fantastic when she come back to Australia in the AFLW?
Dominated the early seasons of the competition in multiple Adelaide premierships, and then the emotional conclusion, wasn't it? She got to move to Port Adelaide. Beautiful story when she got to tell her dad, the great Greg Phillips, Port Adelaide and Collingwood superstar, that she was coming to Port and wearing his jumper and going to captain the club, and it was just the exclamation mark on a stunning multi-sport career.
Yeah, but so highly decorated, and she's doing some she's doing some great work in the media also, Erin. So, great nomination there from Craig.
Great work, Craig. Keep the calls coming. We do need to take a break. 133 693. Dual Sports Stars celebrating Mark Blitzarves tomorrow night, playing his 300th game. And, of course, Lachie Neale, the dual Brownlow medalist, who plays 300th here at the G on Sunday. 1:45 here in Melbourne. That's on the White Glove Mover clock. This is Footy Nightline, thanks to Tobin Brothers Funerals.
Across Australia, you're listening to Footy Nightline. Dial 133 693 to take part in the conversation.
11 minutes to the top of the hour. 133 693, the number to call if you want to be part of the conversation. Just before we go back to our callers, Xanners, tonight's topic, dual sporting stars. Have you I know you did a lot of research during the week, so share a few with us, my friend.
Yeah, well, the standard of callers has been absolutely sensational, but two that I'll put forward to you, Bruce. There was a bloke who played for South Melbourne by the nickname of Wheels, Peter Bedford. What a star he was. 178 goals at South Melbourne, 325 goals, won the 1970 Brownlow, 5 club best and fairest, and he was a Victorian Sheffield Shield representative in 39 matches, Bruce, and made 134 not out against Western Australia, against the mighty Dennis Lilly. And paraphrasing here, but allegedly it was the fastest ball that Dennis Lilly ever bowled. So, Peter Bedford, you superstar.
And an absolutely beautiful man.
One
proud
of the best.
to say... Yep. Sorry, proud to say, actually, a good mate of Wheels, and he was still playing cricket up until a couple of years ago as well. And I reckon with his leg spin, he either got both Chappells out in the same innings or certainly the same match in a Shield game.
He did, Bruce.
And even though part of history, the first ever televised Brownlow medal at the now defunct and demolished Dallas Brooks Hall. He wins the Brownlow in 1970. Took him back there years later for a feature story in the Footy Record, which was a male-only event as well, might I say. He often said over the years the number of women that came, I was there the night you won the Brownlow. He said he'd just let them talk and that, but males were the only ones invited that night. But it's fair to say, as good a footballer as he was, cricket is his first love.
Yeah, absolutely, Bruce. And he 39 matches at Sheffield Shield level for Victoria, and his incredible football record. Played a couple of seasons too at the Blue Baggers, but Peter Bedford, an absolute superstar in both disciplines, footy and cricket.
No doubt about that. Let's go back to our callers. I think Kevin from Auckland has given us a second buzz tonight. G'day, Kev.
Good morning. How are you? And now
well.
Second topic is on. Yeah, it's of course I'm a happy Collingwood man based here in New Zealand. Happy man. Back to the subject hand, which is dual sporting codes. Given it's Anzac week, given it's Anzac Day next week, I might as well chuck some Kiwi names who have been they're like dual sporting stars. Sonny Bill Williams, former two-time All Blacks World Cup winning player. He's a former good boxer.
Yes.
Brad Thorne, a former rugby league player who's also a 2011 Rugby World Cup winning champion. We've got, of course, given this year's 45 years in the off season, Brian McKechnie.
Yes.
A former All Black, a former Black Cap, and of course he was the dodgy recipient of the underarm. Given this year was the 45th anniversary.
Yeah.
The most controversial moment in probably MCG history, February the 1st, 1981.
Great trivia question, Bruce. Who was at the other end?
Bruce Edgar on 102 not out.
Knew you'd get it. Well done.
You got one more for us, Kev, because we've got to get to Bert.
And we've got, who else? Jeff Wilson. He's another former All Black and also former Black Cap as well.
Oh, well done, Kev. Great
That is
work.
Sensational stuff, Kevin. Thanks for giving us a buzz again tonight on 3AW Football. Great nominations. We're running out of time, Zanners. Let's get to Bert. Good evening to you.
Hey, good evening. A dual sports person, Ash Barty. She played T20 cricket for one of the Melbourne teams, and then she also she became a tennis champion.
Absolutely brilliant. She played for, was it the Brisbane Heat, Beaver?
It was, Zanners,
Yeah.
it was.
And, well, her tennis career speaks for itself.
I reckon we can almost go one step further. You can almost throw in the third sport, because apparently she is a very, very, very good golfer.
Yes.
There was some suggestion, would she even turn her hand to the professional ranks in golf? What? Once again, superstar of a sportswoman and superstar of a human being.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, mate. So who's your nomination as one of the great dual sportsmen?
Well, do you know, just before we go to the break, I found out something today which I never, ever knew. And we're going back over a century. One of the biggest names ever in Australian cricket, and he was a big man. Warwick Armstrong, the big ship.
Yes.
Who, of course, captained Australia Test cricket and just a phenomenal figure in Australian cricket in the first part of the 20th century. I never knew he played for South Melbourne in football.
Yes.
He played 16 senior games for the Bloods between 1898 and 1900. I only learnt that this morning.
And there may have been another Test cricketer that played for the Bloods who looked in the mirror every day.
The great Laurie Nash.
Pretty happy with himself. Yes.
We need to take a final break, Xanners. It's 5 to midnight.
Across Australia, you're listening to Footy Nightline. Dial 133 693 to take part in the conversation.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time to take any more callers screaming up to the top of the hour at warp speed. Quickly around the grounds for KO. Watch every AFL game of every round live and on demand in 4K with no ad breaks during play on KO Sports. Get on board today. No contest in the NRL tonight. The Manly Sea Eagles thrashed the North Queensland Cowboys 38 points to 6. And congratulations, Cameron. You've won a $100 gift card thanks to Harvey Norman. Up to 25% off selected big brand laptops at Harvey Norman now. Zanners, another name or two of our dual sports stars to leave us with on this Thursday night.
One of the greats of Australian cricket, Beaver, Keith Miller, 50 games for the Saints, 55 tests for Australia. I'm going to throw in Bruce Duperouzal, who was a star for the Saints and played 5 games for WA in the Sheffield Shield. Laurie Nash, who we just mentioned, what a superstar he was. Keith Wiegard, Fitzroy, 32 games.
Water polo.
1960 Rome Olympics. Water polo, Beaver, there's no doubt about you.
Oh, Xana's great stuff. I'm glad you got the Saints in as well. Great footy nightline tonight. We'll be back next Thursday with Xana's. Tomorrow night we'll be out at Geelong. What a big one. The Cats and the Dogs.